What is up, guys? It is Simba here, and welcome back to another team racing video on F1 24. And today we're back in CSS for the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last video, which was in Portugal in AEC, go check out before you see this one. It has been up for quite a while. There was some pretty good pace in that race, but you will see the ending will be very interesting. But if you are enjoying the content so far on the channel, make sure you hit the like button and get yourselves subscribed for more league and team racing content. Obviously, WR is on the way as well. We're underway as we're at the time of recording. And obviously, it's been a while since I've made a video and uploaded it on the channels, because I've been pretty busy with university and assignments being very, very fun to do. So, yeah, the channel's been a little bit on the side for a little bit, but we're going to try and be as consistent as possible. And let's get into it. So, enough waffle. And you can see we're in qualifying. Now, you can see the deploy bar, the green bar on your screen, is now something we have to all consider in qualifying now. So in the previous patch, in the last couple of videos, we wouldn't have to worry about it. You could just use it wherever you want, the overtake button, but now we have to be careful on how we use it. And practicing for this race, it took me a while to adjust to it again, as we make a huge error there through turn 8, just fly off the circuit on the exit as we tried to open up for turn 9, which wasn't ideal. And you can see that we have dropped to P11. So with the green bar, you have to be careful on how you use the overtake button. So it took me a while to adjust that while practicing, but we have found a bit of confidence, but we're not really showing it at the moment in qualifying. But we've still got a few more laps to go, as there's 5 minutes left. Out of turn 1, pretty decent exit as we set up for turn 2, nice and tight to the apex, but we have a bit of a moment on the exit, and we tried to cut turn 3, which isn't a move I recommend you to do. And now we are just level on the delta as we send it through turn 4. Now through turn 5, it's a lot cleaner than the last lap. And now we are half a tenth up. Going into the chicane where we messed up in AEC, pretty nice, but we have a bit of a moment on the exit as we go through turns 8 and 9. We're actually not messing it up, but turn 9, that looked really scruffy, but we somehow gained time from it, which makes no sense. As through turn 11, again, we have a little snap again, and that costs us just a little bit of time. But we do gain a good amount of time through turn 12, and through 13, not as tight as you want to be as to the apex, but we do get a good drive out of the corner. And now just one more corner to go. Turn 14, we don't quite get close enough to the apex, and we have a moment again, this time on the exit, and that's really hurt our time. We lost half a tenth there, and that is P10 with a 13.5, and unfortunately we don't improve on the last run either. And that is P11. For the first time in quite some time, I've not qualified inside the top 10, which is pretty disappointing. You can see my new teammate, FRT Silo, who recently joined the team. He's looked very quick on this game so far, one of the fastest on the game, surely, on the Xbox side of things. And he managed P6. I don't think he got his lap together either. So it's not the worst position to be in, but being outside the top 10 is quite disappointing. Big shout out to Sem, though. P4 for FGE, massive stuff for him. I think he PB'd in that qualifying session, right. So he'll be very happy going into this one and definitely fancying his chances for some big points. Meanwhile, for us, we're grateful that you don't score points in qualifying, you score them in the race, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Hard tyres on the wagon. There is rain coming through halfway through this race, so we're going to try and get through the dry stint on one set of tyres and then move to the inters. So here we go then. Time for the start of the race. 5 red lights in front of us, and the lights are out, and we are underway here at the Hungaroring, and it's a pretty decent getaway once again on the hard tyres. We get a decent block of knocks as he looks for a move into turn 1. This is where FRT Harvey went flying in AEC, and thankfully it's not the same case here, as we nearly go, what, 3 wide there? Through turn 1 with Dettel and Josh, but through turn 2, huge lag there. There's a bit of carbon fibre flying on our screen. I believe that's the Alpine. And yeah, he's got damage. It's a Haas, actually, not an Alpine. So we move up to P10, albeit I thought we took out Dettel there, which isn't ideal. As a collision on the first lap is not what you want, regardless if you cause it or you are hit in the rear. You just don't want that to happen. But we have gained a place somehow, and we're up into P10. Obviously in CSS, the top 14 score points, so we're already in a points-paying position. But yeah, it's not where we want to be. But up one place, which isn't bad. as now we're looking to try and make a bit more progress. DRS is enabled on lap 2, so overtaking might be a little bit harder now.
What the hell is that, Knight? What are you doing?
Meanwhile, my teammate's getting frustrated already as AMS Knight has made a very audacious move where Silo's come off worse and so has Josh. And Josh is going to try and fight this round the outside of Placky at turn 2. But he runs out of road and goes straight into the grass, and we sweep through. Up into P9 we go in this Hungarian Grand Prix. But yeah, quite frustrating for our teammate who was looking to try and push his way through the field. And unfortunately, he's taken a step back. Meanwhile, for us, I didn't feel quite dialed in at the start of this race. You could see that as we get a warning for track limits. And it's not a great feeling to have, obviously, because you're trying to recover through the field. And we had really good pace here in AEC. But at the moment, we're just not showing it in the early stages of this race. As we move on to lap 4 now, we're still sat behind Placky in the DRS train.
What am I seeing?
And you can hear Silo getting frustrated as there's another collision at turn 1 with Knight, this time with MVR Gabor. Now we're going to try and pounce on this. Up the inside we go, into turn 2. We drift on the curb a little bit, but we get our way through.
Yeah, I'm not crashing with an MVR driver this time, mate.
And we don't collide with an MVR driver, which is fantastic, as we get past Knight as well. Going into turn 4, you can see he had damage on his end plate, and it's vital that we manage to sneak our way through, because Placky managed to get his way past as well. And now, what you're going to see is, I have a brief look behind me, and these guys are still going side by side. And this is the very difficult part of the racetrack. Very, very twisty. And obviously, Hungary's hard to overtake. So we've managed to gap these guys now, because everyone was absolutely going for it. But unfortunately, you heard me in the background say, I lost DRS, and we don't have much battery. And this is exactly what I mean by taking a while to really dial into the race, as the circumstances are very different compared to AEC, where we had the pace. Unfortunately, we're not showing it right now. We might be saved by a very, very timely safety car. Now, this really does change the race, and you'll see how. Placky dives straight into the pits as he wants to try and put a new set of tyres on. Meanwhile, this car's important.
Past the pit lane and the safety car's ahead of everybody.
Apparently weather's going to hit in 5 minutes.
And you can hear Jeff say that the rain's in 5 minutes, so rain is imminent here in the Hungaroring.
And he's got a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags.
Oh, ouch.
And meanwhile, Sem went into the pits and has shot himself in the foot for getting a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Very unfortunate for him. But we move up to P5 now. I will say, we've got 2 warnings already. So this is what I mean. It's not a great start to the race when you've got 2 warnings in the opening 10 laps. But rain is imminent, and it's starting to hit on the racetrack. You can see raindrops on your screen, which is hopefully 1080p, because I streamed this race in 1080p. But we get underway again, and we're going to have the box surely in the next lap or so, as Quantum, I don't know where he's going. He's gone very wide through turn 1, and somehow he doesn't lose too much in the end. I think he's only lost 2 places there, as Ogween gets ahead. Venom looks to try and get in front as well, as we're all just trying to get to the pit lane. As you can see, on to the end of lap 10, you can hear me say to Silo, he's going to box first because he's the car in front. And unfortunately, we're going to have to bite the bullet and go 1 lap longer. So Silo's going to dive in. Venom is going to dive in, it looks like. And I think Ogween dived in as well. So Shizou drivers are double stacking. Both MVR drivers are staying out. And you can see by the time we get to lap 11, Joe Murphy has gone off the track. He's on the intermediates. He pitted on inters during the safety car. And I think the AFG drivers did as well, along with Dettel, who was spun round on lap 1, thanks to some desync as well. So this race is really turning on its head as we try to stick with Quantum, as we're both on the dry tyres. Placky is also on dry tyres, so he's going to lose out big time as well. Joe Murphy, both BRT drivers had a quali ban for this race.
How is Joe Murphy?
Joe Murphy's going to lead this race, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how he's done it.
That is
fair play.
Mental.
Yeah.
He's picked the right choice to pit for inters. It's giving him track position, which is massive around here, since this track is referred to as Monaco without the barriers. We're going to box for intermediates. but we're going to lose out big
I mean,
time,
we don't know
unfortunately.
how
We
one
were
is
P5 when the safety car came in. By the time we get out of the pits, we are down to P13, and you can see the field has spread by quite some distance. You can see both FG drivers have really benefited from pitting under the safety car. A big risk paid off for them, but meanwhile, for us...
Yeah, this is not ideal.
You can hear me say there simply, it's not ideal. It's very frustrating because we actually tried so hard to gain those 6 places in the opening laps, but now we're going to have to do it all over again.
You can pass all these, Simba.
And you can hear Bell, my engineer, giving me encouragement as we make the first move of the afternoon, as we get past the ETE driver in the Alpine. Up to P12 we go. We've got Tech Brutal, the Tier 2 champion from last season, right in front of us. So he might not have benefited from the safety car either. But you can see he gets damage.
Oh. Tech's got damage.
And you can see that Tech gets front wing damage. You saw his end plate flying in the air as he looks to try and pass Liam Hardman in the Aston Martin. You can see they're both sliding around, with Tech getting a 3-second penalty already, so that's a warning shot for us. Meanwhile, we are ahead of Venom and Placky as well, who doubles. I think Venom double stacked, so Venom's quite a way down. Tech gets past Hardman. We try to sneak our way up the inside there, but there was not enough room. Hardman does well to maintain position and give us some space as well, which is quite nice. You know, I think a few other people would have turned in, but we need to pass Hardman here. He's struggling on his inters, and Venom and Placky are not too far behind us to pounce on any opportunities given to them. So we have to bear that in mind. As Tech, I would think at this point he would pull away, but he has got front wing damage, which is pretty bad in these conditions, especially on this game where front wing damage is pretty much game over in league racing these days. So on to lap 15, we've had to wait our time, we've had to bide our time, be patient in this scenario as we've got the overtake on Liam Hardman. He doesn't cover the inside line, so we're going to go up the inside. Into turn 1 we go. Use the curb to try and rotate the car and make sure we give him racing room on the exit. Through in towards turn 2 now. We're going to try and outbrake him. Make sure we leave him space on the inside. And by the time we get to turn 3, we have completed the move by getting our car in front. And that is up to P11 we go in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, we're back to where we started. And we're 16 laps in, so still 19 laps to go. As Barrier in the left-hand side is having a rave of its own for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with this game, to be honest. But up to P11 we go. Now we've got Tech Brutal in front of us. And I know he makes comments in my videos sometimes, so I don't think he's going to look forward to watching this back, as this might be the one time I'll overtake him for the rest of the game cycle. So, overtake on, and you can see he's not going to fight it very hard. He's got damage, and he lets us go, and that is up into P10 we go in the race. So Tech probably playing the long game, probably knows it's not the best way, the best option to fight us, as he's got front wing damage. So that gives us some clean air to push into for the first time in this race and try and chase the cars ahead. But you can see on to lap 19, with a beautiful transition by the way, we have got 2 cars in front of us who are 3 seconds up ahead, and look at the distance.
What the flying... Okay.
Josh and Knox are flying off to somewhere else. Where are they going? They both ended up off the circuit. We passed the Ferrari up into P9, but what on earth was that?
I don't know how they both ended up off the track, but that is the most random thing I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
And Nox is playing Tokyo Drift back here, mate. What the hell am I saying?
These are the guys on the old inters.
So, that was a bit random, as I've never seen 2 cars go off the track that much before. First for me, but now you can see Nox is continuing to play Tokyo Drift in Sector 3. And crucially, Bell has let me know that these guys are on the old intermediate, so they probably pitted the moment the safety car came out. So they're going to be struggling quite a lot. As Nox drifts out of the final corner, I know I need to get past him as soon as I can. Otherwise, we're going to find it pretty difficult to make any more progress for the rest of this race. So down the inside we go, into turn 1. Making sure we get the car slowed down. But Nox gets a pretty good drive out the first corner, despite his inters struggling quite a lot on the rear, as he might go side by side with us through turn 2. Again, make sure we try and get our car fully ahead out of the corner. He tries again at turn 3, but there's nothing he can do as we get our car fully ahead and it's up into P8 in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Now, we are a couple of seconds off our team at the moment, and you can see Dettel and Murphy are just up the road because they had enough of a gap to pit. So we're pit stop behind effectively, but unfortunately we're not going to make things any easier for ourselves as through the chicane.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man.
Not losing any positions tonight, Simba, don't worry.
Just focus on the 2 cars behind you. It's your race. You're going to be on your own for a lot of the end of this.
And the inevitable 3-second penalty has arrived. I don't really get, quite a rare penalty to be honest, as I've not really been getting 3-second penalties lately, which is good, but unfortunately, you know, it's very easily done around here, especially in the wet. If you get one corner wrong, you're going to fly off the circuit. So there's the penalty, and Harvey and Bell were telling me that this is where my race is going to be, in 8th. Thankfully, that's not the case, judging by the title of this video.
Yep, just move in, yep.
Of course, that's fucking NVR past.
Cutting to lap 26, you can hear Silo getting a little bit annoyed, and that's because he, Ogween, Murphy, and Dettel have caught up to the intermediate runners from the start. So the FG drivers have been caught up, along with some MVR drivers as well.
Oh, Gabble's got a pen, get in. Anyone else with a pen in front of me, or is it just me and Gabble?
Quantum.
He's gapping.
Come on, man.
Well, I say MVR drivers, it's just Quantum who's managed to pull ahead. He's got a penalty. Gabble's right behind us, also with a penalty. But now, Silo's getting annoyed because he's trying to pass Typical. Now, Typical gets a lot of hate amongst the drivers here. And what you're going to see doesn't really help his case. Because I think he's a decent guy, but his driving doesn't help it. You can see Ogween's lost out there. Through goes Joe Murphy now.
Yeah, and just lets Dettel through like it's nothing.
It's like he's signed with everyone. Bro, calm down.
And the frustrating thing here is Typical's letting some people through, but then fighting others, which makes no sense. It defeats the whole point of him getting track position in the first place. So,
Oh, and that's Joe through, yep.
it's really self-defeating. It doesn't make any sense.
Why is he just letting people through when he was so resistant at first?
I don't know what he's doing.
And as a result, it's letting the cars in front just get away. And unfortunately, Owen hasn't made that move on Typical yet. I think he's lost out through Typical's fighting.
I've got 0 grip, right.
To be fair, mate, there is no fucking grip at all.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
Gabble
there's
on
not
my
much
arse
grip.
as
I think
well.
we're in full wet conditions, but there's no point pitting for
Yeah,
wets. There's
one
only
lap
8 laps
left
to go,
Ogween,
and
3
you'll
laps
just lose
left
track
in
position
Typical, so-
trying to get it back. So we have to just stick with it, and now we're going to have to try and get our way past Typical.
Nice.
How are we going to do this? Typical's racecraft isn't the best, to say the least, and we've seen this before in previous videos. So how are we going to do this? Owen is probably fuming at this point because he was probably in the fight
Why
for a
is
podium
Enden-
place until he ran into the Mercedes. So now on to lap 29, 7 laps to go. Owen now is going to make a very, very late move to the inside. In turn 1, he
Owen.
just clips his rear end. He keeps it facing the right way, and we couldn't really do much about it. And now he's going to try again, this time into turn 2, as he tries to go round the outside. Typical locks with him.
Oh my god, Typical, mate.
I mean, it's
What
just for
in the
you, but-
defence, mate?
Take it.
Okay, gap to the car in front.
Oh,
2.2 seconds.
yeah. He's not making friends today.
He's working on his racecraft, guys. Elbows out.
Oh, he's so dumb. Thanks, mate.
And through goes Simba. Up into P5 we go. In his Hungarian Grand Prix, we're back to where we started on lap 7. And that's exactly where we stay for the rest of the race, because Owen got himself a 3-second penalty. And Typical dropped quite a way back in the end. But very questionable racecraft there from FGE's newest signing. It's why people don't like him, to be honest. But on this case, we benefit from it. We do pull away from Gabor and Ogwin on this final lap, as Dettel was taken out on the first lap. He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix, Silo should get a podium. I'm not too sure what happened there. But for us,
I think
it's
you'll get a
P5
podium now, Silo.
in the Hungarian Grand Prix. And considering everything we went through in that race, I will happily take it. Pretty good racecraft throughout the entire race. Obviously, the 3-second penalty is a bit of a damper, but it wouldn't have changed our finishing position in the end. And the only problem here was qualifying just letting us down. We are starting to get in the bad habit of not really maximising qualifying. A bit like F123, but compared to F123 and CSS, this is probably our best result, considering we weren't very good towards the end of F123. So it's good to see that we are getting better with each passing race. The racecraft in the wet was very good. I feel like I made some very nice moves, which I can look back on pretty happily recording this video. And we took advantage of typical's pretty questionable racecraft. In this case, we benefited from it, so I can't really complain. I'm not sure if Silo got a podium or not, but either way, it's good points for the team. It's another strong race from us, and we'll carry on and carry it into the next race. So that's going to be the end of today's video. Subscribe for more. Sorry for the order being dodgy throughout. I'll try and sort that out. But until then, I'll see all of you in the next one.